Good afternoon. Welcome all of you. I am Professor Smita, Department of Physical Education, College of Education, Bashi. Today, I got a great opportunity to introduce such a great personality, today's resource person, Dr. Vikram Patarkine, Chemical Environmental Engineer, citizen of USA. Uh, Sir, Dr. Vikram Patakini sir is ready for us in early morning as in USA. So thank you, sir, and welcome once again, sir. Dr. Vikram Patakini is a chemical environmental engineer with one over 3 decades of international experience covering consulting, R&D, technology, assessment, development, commercialization, and application manufacturing, training, and capacity building. He has received a US citizenship through recognition of extraordinary ability to sustain national or international acclaim by US citizenship and immigration services. Dr. Vikram founded PES USA in 2008 to provide environmental stewardship strategies and solutions. The company provides strategies, advice to investigate group and clients around the world. Dr. Vikram has been instrumental in founding companies related to environmental stewardship and renewable energy and uh, holding broad level and C-level position in these companies. Dr. Vikram has had held several leadership positions in the past, including Chief Technology Officer of Renewable Energy Technology Development Company, Senior Vice President of an engineering design and consulting firm, and Director of Process Engineering of an equipment design and manufacturing firm during in 1990s. He led the environment and new natural resources management consulting practices of Tata Consultancy Services, Asia largest consulting firm. Dr. Vikram has been nominated on several prestigious and professional committees such as the Speaker by Program, Scientific and Technical Advisory Committee, and the Water Environment Federation's Municipal Water Waste Treatment Designs Committee as an expert on nutrient management, energy conservation, and renewable energy. Dr. Vikram has held a PhD in environmental engineering from Virginia Tech and Master of Technology in Chemical Engineering from Nagpur University, India. He has been an adjunct professor of environmental engineering at the University of Missouri and has also taught graduate student at Pennsylvania State University. He has authorized a chapter in manual peer-reviewed papers and numerous technical reports. He has conducted training program and has made conference presentation worldwide. Dr. Vikram has a yoga practitioner for 4 decades and teaches yoga regularly to those who are interested. He is a conscious of Hindustani classical music and has organized several classical musical programs. He follows and actively promotes a lifestyle based on natural plant-based diet for both personal health and planet's sustainability. He loves cricket and watches it wherever he is available. Such a great personality, today's resource person available for this international conference. Thank you. Over to Dr. Vikram sir.
Namaste, everybody. It's a true joy and pleasure to be with you. Although it is early morning here, it doesn't really matter. I rested well before I joined this meeting, and I'm pleased to see so many people here. I will try to speak for about 15 to 20 minutes, and then thereafter we will do questions and answers. You should be able to see my screen here, which says Eco Village towards environmental sustainability. These are the topics I would like to cover today. When we are going to talk about eco village, what is an eco village? Why there is a need for an eco village? Then I'll talk about a different perspective about the way we look at our environment We'll talk about some fundamental principles. I'll tell you about the assimilative capacity of the environment. We'll talk about how the world population has exploded in the last few years, nature's warning. Then we'll give you an overview of the eco village I have a concept about. And then eco village features, what it should have. I'll also show you a brief video, a 2-minute video about a showcase project that is being planned somewhere near Chennai, and then some concluding remarks. If somebody is not speaking, I would request them to mute themselves so that there is no disturbance to other people. Thank you. All right, so what is an eco village? An eco village is a traditional or intentional community with the goal of becoming more socially, culturally, economically, and ecologically sustainable. This is exactly how we have lived in Bharat for the past thousands of years. But this is a new understanding for people who are working in the field of environmental engineering, environmental sciences, agriculture, ecology, and also social sciences. An eco village strives to produce the least possible negative impact on the natural environment through intentional physical design and resident behavior choices. You see, whether we believe it or not, whether we want it or not, whether we like it or not, whether we know it or not, we are natural beings. We are a product of nature. Therefore, we have to live in harmony with nature. If we don't, then nature will restore the balance against our wishes. Okay, I'm going to talk a bit more about this as we move along. So why is there a need for an eco village? Before the steam engine was invented by Sir James Watt, anything and everything we were producing as human beings was being utilized, or even if it was not being utilized, the waste or the thing that was left over was assimilated by nature and was actually reused by nature. Whatever we may consider as waste is actually the raw material for the next biochemical process in nature. That is how nature works. Okay. But since the industrial revolution, somehow we were able to establish industries, and also establish cities around the industries. Therefore, the process of urbanization started. So people started gathering in cities, in places that evolved to become cities. People started living in crowded places. As a result, the environment in that area started getting degraded. So after the industrial revolution, both urbanization and environmental degradation started happening. Okay. Now, this has continued for almost 200 years. But in the last 1 year, as we have been locked down because of the pandemic, several questions are being asked. And we are asking these questions to ourselves. Okay. Number one, are urban clusters away from nature good for us? Because in the pandemic, you would have noticed that mostly cities have been affected. People in rural areas have not been as badly affected as people in the cities. This is because of close proximity. Okay, this is what is conducive for the pandemic. If people are constantly in contact with each other, constantly within a very short distance of each other, that is when a pandemic can easily spread. All right. Should we rethink our development models? Are urban clusters the way to go? Or shall we do something different? Okay. Shall we work towards living in harmony with Mother Nature? Isn't that what we are supposed to be doing as natural beings? Therefore, is reverse urbanization the answer? So these are the things I have been contemplating upon, and I thought I would share that with you, share with you some of the experience I have in the field, as well as ask you some questions. These would be excellent topics for research in the future as well. Look at it from a completely different perspective. let's consider the entire planet as one organism. All right. Now, whenever there is a disease in our body, okay, what does the body do? The body resists it and tries to fight it. So look at the entire earth as one body, one organism, on which in the last 200 years there has been excessive human activity, which has resulted in environmental degradation. So when we produce things that we cannot assimilate, that we cannot completely consume, and then we throw away, if nature doesn't know how to repurpose them, then environmental degradation will happen. Is that really the planet's ailment as a whole? What the planet has done in response is it has slowed down human activity. Because of slowdown of human activity, we have stopped any and all non-essential activities. All right. Only the essential activities are going on. What we have learned is even without these non-essential activities, our life can be quite fulfilling. Okay. Because of that, environmental quality has improved. So the lesson we should have learned in this past 1.5 years is the pandemic has given us a golden opportunity to look at ourselves, to look at our development models and see whether we should be living the way we have been living in the past 150, 200 years. Let's look at some fundamental principles. You see, nature exhibits perfect design. Okay, there are no mistakes in nature. Organisms will appear in ecosystems that are suitable for them. In the Gita, there is a shlok which says, Annad bhavanti bhutani parjanyad anna sambhava, which means all the beings are created out of the food. So therefore, if there is no food base, organisms will not even appear. All right. So therefore, the base environment or base ecosystem has to be ready before an organism will appear in that environment. So for example, the mother's womb has to be ready before the child will be born. Okay. Another fundamental principle is organisms are naturally programmed for survival and propagation. Okay, every organism knows where to go find food, what food is appropriate for that organism, and how to survive. Okay, in Sanskrit, the fundamental urges of any living organism are ahar, nidra, bhaya, and maithun. Ahar means food, nidra means sleep, bhaya means a tendency for self-preservation instinct, and maithun means multiplication. All right. Every organism has a beneficial role in the ecosystem. You see, we may or may not realize this, but even pathogens have a beneficial role in the ecosystem. Pathogens will come and try to eat the waste material in an organism's body very quickly. That is why we feel traumatic, okay, or we feel traumatized. A healthy ecosystem will exhibit biodiversity and balance among species. You see, if one species becomes very predominant, then the balance of the ecosystem can be disturbed. This is exactly what has happened because of an excess of human population, because our footprint is very huge. All right. So, what is the assimilative capacity of an ecosystem? It is the ability of the ecosystem or the environment to carry waste material without adverse effects on the environment or on users of its resources. That is what assimilative capacity means. This is actually the capacity of the environment to restore itself. Natural systems have an innate capability to restore themselves to healthy conditions. You see, the fundamental quality of nature or environment is health. Because of our behavior, because of our wrong behavior, we introduce imbalance and therefore dis-ease in the environment. Pollution occurs only when the assimilative capacity is exceeded. Otherwise, disease will not happen. You see, we are constantly bombarded by viruses, bacteria, pathogens all the time. The very fact that you and I are alive today is because our forefathers have survived all kinds of pandemics in the past. Okay. Look at the world population in the year 1900. it was just over 1.5 billion or 150 crores. Today, we are touching 8 billion or 800 crores. So, in the last about 120 years, we have grown more than twice, or more than 5 times. Is that a good thing? That's not a good thing. That's exponential growth with a very large footprint is not good for the planet. That is what the planet is trying to tell us. Nature is trying to warn us. It is sending us a message through coronavirus, says the UN Environment Chief Inger Anderson. She says our continued erosion of the wild spaces has brought us uncomfortably close to animals and plants that harbor diseases that can jump to humans. That is one theory. In China, in a wet market, the virus was on the bats. And then people who eat bats got that virus. So it jumped from animals to human beings. Because what has happened, see, because of our larger footprint, we have reduced the area where wildlife can easily sustain. So therefore, what will nature do? Nature is trying to restore itself through this coronavirus pandemic. Okay. To reverse this, what can we do? We should try to live in harmony with nature. Okay. The thing I have been contemplating on is why don't we set up eco villages in rural areas? See, instead of crowding the cities, instead of people migrating from villages to cities, there is now a need for people to migrate from cities back to villages, back to nature. This will be reverse urbanization or ruralization, if I may. Okay. This will provide opportunities for people to live in harmony with nature. It will be regenerative. You see, because we have lived in the cities, the city environment, or you see, even imagine a place like Mumbai. Mumbai used to be several small villages. Okay. All those villages were inhabited by people migrating from all over the country. And over time, all of those villages basically merged into each other. And wherever there used to be natural areas, those were cut down and buildings were built, or all kinds of development took place. Because of that, the environmental quality in the city degraded quite a bit, isn't it? So when we move away from the cities into rural areas, but develop that in a regenerative manner, okay? Even when we move away from the cities, the environment in the cities will improve. It will regenerate itself, okay? We want to be responsible. When we move to an eco village or when we set up the eco village, we will be responsible, we will be sustainable. We will make sure that our environmental impact is as low as possible, just as we saw in the definition of the eco village, right? We want to build these eco villages built on the values of harmony and compassion, not just towards our fellow human beings, but also towards all living beings. These are the features of the eco village. An eco village should be built with eco-friendly housing, eco-friendly housing materials. Okay. There can be and there should be organic farming in the eco village itself so that the food can go directly from the farm to the plate. All right. So therefore, organic farming and dining. The village should be powered by renewable energy for carbon neutrality. So there should be no energy that is based on carbon-based fuels. All right. Or whatever carbon we mine from the earth. We should not use that kind of fuel. Waste should be reused and recycled, of course, so that there is zero waste going out of that community. Everything that is generated in the community can be reused and recycled in the community itself. There should be dedicated green areas, including forests. I think somebody got unmuted. So can you please mute everybody? Thank you. Dedicated green areas, including forests, where feasible. Because when we have forests, forests are amazing carbon sinks. Okay, so each tree can absorb and fix several tons of carbon. So depending upon how many trees we are able to build and sustain, we will be able to fix that much carbon. Okay. Continuing with the eco-village features, the eco-village should have model educational institutions focused on the curiosity of mind and aspiration of greater good rather than simply learning what the teacher is telling. Teachers will teach at this eco-village based on their own experience, and people will live, or the teachers will live according to their own principles so that the students can learn from teachers as role models. Okay. The eco village doesn't need to be ancient. Okay, we are in 2021, so therefore the eco village should be equipped with modern communication facilities. There should have innovation and incubation centers where innovation can take place, eco-friendly development can take place, and people with free mind can be allowed to pursue their curiosity. Okay. It should also have community centers for health, well-being, and cultural and spiritual pursuits. When we have such facilities in an eco-village, why would somebody not want to live in an eco-village like this and move away from the city and enjoy living in proximity with nature? All right, so let me show you a showcase project. This will be a 2-minute video. And then for this, I will need to stop. I will have to do a new share. So let me show you this. All right. Hopefully you can all see this.
Where is home? Is it the city I live in, with my family of 4 in an apartment that we're paying through our noses to keep? This investment will take time to pay off, hopefully by the time we retire. Or is home where our parents live? Our safe havens, so to speak. I'm not really sure. We're not the only ones in this situation. I remember as a child, traveling on the train, staring on at vast expanses of land, filled with greenery, water bodies, and fresh air in great abundance. I would always imagine what it would be like to run in those vast spaces without the hassles of urban life. Now there's an opportunity to do just that, where we can create a space we can truly call home, where we can live fresh and free, a land we can restore, grow our own vegetables and grains that suit our needs. We can build an eco-friendly home. How about it? A home which cares for community and wildlife. We can also share our worldly skills with those who desperately need them. We will return to pesticide-free farming. This is the gift we can give our children. One that truly lasts lifetimes. Would you want to miss this opportunity for them?
Wonderful. So let's continue with the PowerPoint, the last slide, concluding remarks. We are really natural beings and we should live close to nature. That's the conclusion. Okay, we need to rethink our development models for human settlements. Can we just 1 second? Some other screen is still playing, so I need to close that. All right, hopefully you can still see this. Can we change our perspective? We have been living with the perspective of exploiting nature. can we live with the perspective of being in harmony with nature? Okay. These are my concluding remarks. These are the questions I'm posing for you. If you have any comments or questions, I'll be happy to take those at this time. Thank you very much for listening to me so patiently. Let me stop the screen share here and then see if anybody has any comments or questions.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you very much, sir. I would like to ask the participants if they have any question, please ask. Please post in the chat box. Or you can
Okay,
be,
I see
yeah.
Dr. Mahadev is wanting to ask a question. So go ahead, Dr. Mahadev.
नको म्हणा.
नको का? आपल्याला प्रश्न आहे का?
नाही आहे म्हणतात.
बरं, ठीक आहे, हरकत नाही. In the chat, I see from I Sachin to everyone, sir, is it possible in the capitalist area to maintain eco villages? You see, by doing this experiment with capitalism, we have landed where we have landed, isn't it? Should we continue to commit the same mistakes which have landed us in this kind of trouble? Should we not rethink our development models? We have done this experiment. Because of unbridled capitalism, the environment has paid a very heavy price. Not just the environment, but also other species other than human beings. Is that the way to live? That's not the way to live. We have to live in harmony with nature. We have to live in harmony with the environment. That is the only way to live sustainably. Otherwise, nature will wipe us out. Human beings are not very significant or important on the face of the earth. Okay. If you look at the total number of organisms on this planet, out of that, 7.5 or 8 billion people, 800 crores is nothing. We have more bacteria than 800 crores on our face right now. So if we were to conduct a democratic election of all the living entities on this planet, human beings will not even be able to make it to the ballot paper because we don't have enough numbers. So we should not be too arrogant, and we should not think that we are ruling this world or we are controlling the environment or controlling nature. We are not. We are very insignificant. So we need to learn to live with nature. We need to learn nature's laws, and we need to adhere to those laws. Otherwise, we'll be wiped out. Thank you for this intriguing comment or question.
There is one question raised, sir.
Yes.
By the participant. He want to ask that COVID-19 pandemic due to
Environmental imbalance.
or it
Yeah.
is man-made thing?
Correct. What about your opinion? So COVID-19, you see, fundamentally, disease happens not just because of the pathogen. Okay. It happens because our own immunity is low. Why does immunity go down? Immunity goes down because of indulgence. You see, our bodies have the capability to restore health, just like nature has the capability to restore health. Our bodies are designed for health. Nature is also designed for health. Nature is designed for balance, for equilibrium. Okay. No living entity wants to live in a state of imbalance. That is just natural law. All right. So if we conduct our life in an imbalanced manner, how do we conduct our life in an imbalanced manner? We consume more than necessary. If you look at nature, no organism will consume more than necessary. Have you ever seen any animal overeat? Forget about animals, even our own children. Have you ever seen a child overeat? No, the child will throw it away or spit it away. Even the baby in the mother's lap, the baby will drink the milk until the baby is hungry. When the baby is full, it will stop, isn't it? That is nature's law. Nature's law is to consume only what is necessary at any given time. If we consume more than that, then that is creating an imbalance. When we create that kind of imbalance, nature has to strike back. Think of it in this manner. A child will go into the mother's lap and want to drink milk. But if this child is now biting into the mother and sucking her milk, what will the mother do? The mother will simply kick him away. We are children of Mother Nature. We need to be in her lap and sucking her milk only to the extent necessary for us. If we do anything more than that, then the mother is going to kick us. That is exactly what is happening through this pandemic. So the disease is not corona. The disease on this planet is human greed, because of which corona has happened, and then corona is trying to correct our behavior. Corona is actually the medicine for overall humanity. Now, if somebody in my house is sick or dying, of course, that's a bad thing. But if you see, mostly people are getting sick or people are dying who already have comorbidity. Those who are healthy, those whose immune systems are good, they are not getting sick. So that's what happens. Thank you for this comment.
Thank you. Thank you very much, sir.
Okay, you tell me when to stop, and I'm happy to stop.
Yeah, sir. We are just waiting. One more session is there of paper presentation.
Okay, fantastic.
So we are moving towards that.
So thank you very much for inviting me here and
Yes.
listening to me so patiently. Appreciate your audience. Thank you.
There is one compliment, sir. Your voice is very imperative.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Namaskar.
Okay. On behalf of College of Education Barshi and Punyashloka Ahilyadevi Holkar Solapur University, I thank Dr. Vikram Patrakini sir to his valuable guidance and valuable time also. Thank you very much, sir.
You're most welcome. Bye-bye.
Now we will move further for the next session.